In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Pelikan M800. So let's jump straight to the end and look at my thoughts on this pen. Here is a pen that is quite frequently somebody's grail pen, and I really do think it's worth it. It was worth it enough that while it's going to be quite some time before I would get to it, I did wind up getting a second one of these. In fact, this is the second one that I had, where my first one was an M805. It fits the hand incredibly well and really is comfortable to write with. I can understand why some that feel the M1000 is a little too large for them would go to this in its place. Writing with it is honestly very smooth and nice the entire way through. In general, this is a pen that will get some decent attention, and this one is a little bit flashier than a lot of their pens that are a little bit less outspoken. Now that we know how I feel about the Pelikan M800, let's see how I got to that opinion, starting with the unboxing. This pen can post. I don't think you need to, but if you do, it doesn't make it back heavy or ridiculously large. The packaging is standard fare for Pelikan in how it comes, and it does a really good job at keeping the pen safe and does make it easy to store without any problem being in a nice rectangle. Something that I actually wish they did was marked a little bit more clearly on the outer box what pen you had. With the pen out of the box, we need to get to the nib. And as long as it doesn't take 20 turns to uncap it, I'm generally okay. So how many turns does it take to uncap this pen? The Pelikan M800 takes one turn to uncap. The easy uncapping definitely puts you in a position where if you cap all the time between notes, that it's not really going to slow you down because it takes so little to actually uncap it, which, if you're sitting in meetings, is quite useful. This gets us to the nib. This pen has a medium gold nib on it. Pelikan pens quite possibly have some of the prettiest nibs that are out there, and this one is right there with what it has. I really do prefer how their two-tone nib looks to their single tone. Now, let's ink this pen up. The Pelikan M800 is a piston filler and holds approximately 1.7 milliliters of ink. The ink for today is Sites Kruznak Pacific Blue. People often think of these pens because they're a little bit larger as having a tremendous ink capacity, and I'm not saying that 1.7 milliliters is nothing, but it's not nearly as much as people would play it off to be. With a serious day of writing, you can easily write this pen out, which I don't mind at all. I like being able to change my pen or my ink as frequently as I'd like. As a habit, I don't normally post my pens, but some people prefer to post pens, and some pens need to be posted to use comfortably. This pen can post. I don't think you need to, but if you do, it doesn't make it back heavy or ridiculously large. If you enjoy videos like this, then be sure to hit the subscribe button. Now, the important part, the writing sample. It's incredibly common for me to have one of my Pelikans inked up along with a couple other certain pens almost all the time. Between the two Pelikan M800s and the two M1000s, one of them is always inked because they are just such a joy to write with. I don't tend to worry too much about the fact that I bring them to school. I have it in my pocket, and it's not a big deal. Now, on one pen, I did get it with a broad nib and was expecting some baby's bottom and did experience some baby's bottom, but I was prepared for it and knew how to deal with it ahead of time. However, in their medium and fine nibs, I've had no issue with that coming up, and this pen was no exception. It truly does write like a dream the entire time. I find it to be girthy enough that I make sure I don't wind up with any hand cramps. It's long enough to not have to post, which I appreciate because I don't tend to care about posting my pen. I like it. The only thing that I would say is a downside is the fact that it is a piston filler for some people that don't like piston fillers. For instance, when it comes to choosing pens to use in writing samples now with the ink reviews, I don't use piston fillers because they take a little bit more work, so I wouldn't use it for that, but the good news is it stays easily in my rotation as a pen of the day. Now for something a bit more standard in comparing writing size. I use Namiki Blue to do this. Here's how it compares to a Jowo Extra Fine on the left, a medium in the middle, and a 1.1 stub on the right. How it compares to a Jowo Extra Fine on the left, medium in the middle, and a 1.1 stub on the right. Pelikan nibs are known to be a little bit broader than normal for what they're marked, and this one's no exception. I don't always remember to do it, but typically I wind up writing a little bit larger to compensate, and you can see in some of my writing my E's are quite sloppy as a result of it. I didn't make that adjustment as easily as I should have to the broader nib. Still, I enjoy it. But how does this one compare to other nibs I've used? Looking at the writing of a Pelikan M800 with a medium nib. Here it is next to a Diplomat Arrow with a broad nib, a Kaweco Sport with a broad nib, a Pelikan M1005 with a medium nib, a Pelikan M805 with a broad nib, a Mr. Pen Italics brand Chaplin's Tankard with an oblique italics nib. While it is broader than in general, it's not like it's highlighter broad. It's not that kind of a problem. It's just the kind of thing that if you're using this pen on inexpensive paper, its flow, it's a very wet pen, combined with the broadness of that nib, even though it's only a medium, you should expect a lot of bleed through on cheap paper. So it isn't a review without some size comparisons. Here it is capped, here it is uncapped, and here it is posted. I find its size to be very nice and comfortable in the hand. And the thing is, because I've played with some larger pens, I actually find that I prefer them much larger. And to me, I wind up thinking of the Pelikan M800 as more of a standard size that I would prefer to have in my hand. That being said, I do prefer the fact of its girth in my hand. At this point, we have a dirty pen that we need to clean. Be sure to check out the next pen review when we take a look at the Platinum 3776. If you want to be able to support not just my channel, but any reviewer, then when you make a purchase, be sure to tell that retailer where you heard about it. Thanks for watching.